All right, I have two things for you. The first one may help with your tummy problems, and it's a breathing technique actually. Um, I think I always forget the name of it exactly. There are two similar ones, and I'll show you both of them because some of us have a genetic defect that doesn't allow one of them to be performed adequately, and so you have to resort to the other one. So the two techniques are, one is called Sitkari, the other one is called Shitali, and it doesn't really matter which is which. This is a cooling technique that is used to, from a biological standpoint, cool the physiological processes, I guess. And it looks a little weird, it seems a little weird, it's a little weird to perform, but it actually can be effective for some things, like from arthritis to certain women's issues to digestive issues. And so I'll show you the one that I can do, which I think is called Sitkari. And for it, I'm going to take the tip of my tongue and roll it back onto the roof of my mouth. So the tip of my tongue is actually pointing backward toward my throat, like this. And then I'm going to close my mouth just slightly and inhale. And then exhale through my nose normally. And do it again. Lifting the chin slightly. And keep going. Okay, so that's just a demonstration. Um, First thing is that everybody's mouth gets dry when you do it, so either keep a glass of water by hand or close at hand, or just put up with it. The other thing, or the other technique is very similar, but I can't do it because you have to be able to roll your tongue like a tube. And if you can do that, then you're all set. And if you can't do that, then you have to do the technique that we just did, Sitkari. So this one is called Shitali, I think. And so you would make a tube with your tongue, stick it out just a little bit, and then take that same inhale through the tongue and exhale through the mouth just like we did. So it's the alternative to doing what I have to do, which is to roll the tongue back in the mouth. So if you are blessed genetically with being able to do that, then that's the way to go. All right, so let's say 5 minutes of that a few times a day and just see what effect it has. Sometimes, I mean, I can feel a cooling effect immediately, like in my stomach and my gut. You may or may not have that experience right away, but give it a try, see how it goes. And then I got to sort of organize my thoughts for a second about part two to this, which really has more to do, I'm going to say, with lifestyle, filling in some blanks and sort of what may have occurred such that you had some misfortune in the past couple of days. And so let me put some thoughts together, and it won't take any time while you're watching, but for me, I'll be back in a few minutes. So there's a technique, it isn't a technique, it's a principle really, in yoga that stands sort of as one of the primary ones for what they would call transformation, self-transformation. And the Sanskrit word for it is svadhyaya. Sva means self, and dhya or dhyanam means insight, as one translation. So it's really sort of a process of self-reflection, of self-examination. And that's going to be sort of the theme for what I have to say. Now, I'm not your conscience. I'm not conscience. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not even sure exactly what's gone on, although I can probably take a good guess, knowing some things about you as I do. So let's just start with, this isn't about, any opinion I have. I'm a fallible human, you're a fallible human, and I haven't met one yet who isn't. So this is just a suggestion, and it sort of occurred to me, and if it has no relevance to you or your situation, then, then just push the pause button and you're done. But here's the thing from a yoga perspective, is that when we recognize that there are dysfunctional behaviors, and when we start to see those, the idea is not necessarily to chastise ourselves, to go beat ourselves over the on the back with a whip, whatever it is that some of the Catholics love to do. I forget what that's called. But the idea is to have a very honest sort of discussion with yourself, and just recognize that something that you have habitually done may not be well serving. And in that vein, the idea then is to do what another step is in this process, another principle that is called tapas in Sanskrit, and it means work. It really means heat. Tap, the root word is to heat, to cook. And so the idea is sort of to first examine our behaviors and accept that there are things that we do in life that don't serve us well. The second is to do something about it. And sometimes the doing something about it isn't necessarily stopping, particularly if it's a habit that's fairly deeply rooted or that has been ongoing for, years, decades, centuries, if one believes in karma and reincarnation, or even patterns delivered from father to son and so forth. So the idea isn't necessarily that you're just going to get rid of it, because sometimes that's too big of a challenge to tackle just in a moment or in a week or in a month or a year. The idea is to adjust behavior. And so my suggestion to you relative to some of your current woes, again, sort of reading between the lines, is just to, understand when you walk out the door, let's say, and into a situation where there's this distinct potential that certain things are going to occur, certain behaviors are going to kick in, to make a plan in advance. And the plan isn't necessarily don't, although it could be. The plan may just be to do it in a less destructive way, or a less impactful way. To have the plan, to have it down, I would say in writing, although I know writing's a pain in the ass for you, so maybe it's recording, as painful as it may be, because some people don't like to hear the sound of their own voice, but to record it in a voice memo and just set out, what am I going to do differently this time when or if the circumstances occur that might lead me at least in a safer direction, or in a less provocative or less potentially detrimental direction. And I won't say any more than that. I think, that either applies to you or it doesn't. And if it applies to you, you're certainly bright enough to get the idea of it without me having to elaborate on it. So, tapas, svadhyaya, self-reflection, and action as a result of that self-reflection. Adjustment in behavior. Maybe not eliminating it, but maybe doing something a little bit different. And I'm going to say as the last thing that part of tapas can be, and part of svadhyaya actually, can be these breathing techniques that we've been working on. So this is also part of the process. It all kind of plays into the same stuff. So, the encouragement then is to continue to do that. I understand that you may have fallen off the wagon a little bit, so, just get back on. Climb on the wagon, Do those practices that we've already been through, and then take some time if you know reasonably that you're going to end up in a situation where the consequences of it could possibly be, more detrimental than you'd probably like. And plan in advance using your own innate intelligence adjustments that you can make so that maybe you can do, damage control in advance, if you know what I mean. Okay? So that's it. Love you, man. Have a good 10 days, whatever it'll be, and I'll be happy to meet up with you again when I get back. That's it. Be good. See ya.